everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Cow. Today we are making these lovely curly Q garlands. I love them, they are just so cute. If you've seen the written pattern in our group, our Facebook group, you will have seen that it says let your creativity shine, and this is the perfect project to let your creativity shine. And it says let your silly frilly creativity shine, whether you imagine lots of brightly coloured twirly swirlies in the breeze, out in the garden, or even a floor length curtain of curls in an open doorway, or something else entirely, you'll enjoy making this fun garland. So these are only a few inches long, but you could make these absolutely long enough for a curtain, and that would just be absolutely crazy but gorgeous. I mean, gosh, just imagining it, gosh, can't say that word very well, just blows my mind to just picture that curtain of these. You can change colour as often as you like. I've only got 2 colours here, but you can change it as often as you like. You can use variegated yarn, little bits and pieces of yarn that you've got, your scraps. You can change the size of these just by changing the size of your hook as well. So many possibilities for this. It's just insane, the possibilities for this. So I'm going to talk you through how to make the actual curls, and then I'm going to talk to you about how you can make this into a garland. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's have a look at how we're going to make the curly cues themselves. If you've never made a curly cue before and you think, how are they made? Are they complicated? You may have seen them used for unicorn hair, octopus tentacles. Some people make them for going into children's hair, and they just look beautiful, and you might have thought, oh my gosh, they look complicated and difficult, but really they are not. They are so simple. So let me push these aside. I'm going to show you how to do the basic curly cues, and then I will show you how we can make them into a garland like these. So pop those aside. Now, there's a few things to remember about making curly cues, really. One of the things to bear in mind with a curly cue is the size of your hook. Now, I'm using DK number 3 yarn, 8 ply light worsted, and for that I usually use a 4.5mm hook. For the curly cues, I am using a 3.5mm hook, because it makes them tighter and they curl more if they're tighter. So let me show you. I think this one was a 4.5mm hook. This one here was a 4.5mm, and this one here was a 3. No, this was a 3.5 and this was a 4.5, I think. Or the other way around, I can't remember. 3.5 and 4.5. So you can see it's just a bit tighter there. Okay, and the same with these two. This one was a 3.5mm and this one was a 4.5. So you can see it's tighter. Okay, so I just tend to use a smaller hook to make it a bit tighter. So what you're going to do is make a chain. You can make a chain any length you like. These ones I made 15 chains long, but for the purpose of this I'm going to make 10. Okay, so I'm going to chain 10. I'm actually going to chain 11, so I've got 1 extra. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1 extra. Because then I'm going to work into the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to do, let's do 2 single crochets. This is the simplest of all curly cues. So 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, 2 single crochets in the next chain, and 2 single crochets in each chain, and that is it. literally that is it. That's all you need to do. 2 single crochets in each chain. So you'll be making a total of 20 single crochets if you have a chain of 10, or a chain of 11 going into that second chain. So let me just quickly work these. Show you. As you can see, it's starting to curl up on its own. You do sometimes need to encourage them to curl, but they do start to curl on their own. If you accidentally do 3 in one chain, don't worry, it's absolutely fine. It won't stand out like a sore thumb. Okay, so that's my last one, so I'm just going to fasten off. Oops, can't get my scissors. There we go. Okay, so secure that, and you can see it started to curl, and then I'm just going to encourage it to curl round. And you can give it a good curl. Curl it as tight as you like, and there is your simple curly Q. So I would call this a 2 single crochet curly Q, okay, because this has got 2 single crochets in each chain. So this is a 2 single crochet curly Q. There we go. If I just hang it, you can see it twisting. There we go. And the other thing you can do with these, if you don't want it quite as tight, is you can take a hold of the very bottom and the top and stretch it out and just have a wider, looser curl, like so. Okay, let's twist it back up to make it a bit tighter. There we go. Okay, so that's a 2 single crochet curly Q. Now we can change this up, so I'm going to move on to a half double crochet. Okay, so a half double crochet would be exactly the same process of making chains. So again, I'm going to do 10 chains, and then I'm going to do 2 extra, and then start in the 3rd chain from the hook, and this time I'm going to make 3 half double crochets in each chain. 3 half double crochets in each chain. Okay, so I started in the 3rd chain from the hook, and I'm doing 3 in each. So this time I will have 30 stitches plus the initial chain 2. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 in each of these. I will do the rest off camera, so you're not sitting watching me for ages, and I'll see you when I've done this whole row. Okay, here we go. My half double crochet, you can see how it's like so. It looks quite cool on its own actually, but I'm just going to curl it around, and there we go. There is the half double crochet, 2 half double crochet curly Q. And again, if you want to, you can just give it a stretch and make it a bit stretched out. There you go. So 2 single crochet and 2 half double crochet. There we go so far. And the last one that I've ever made is a double crochet. I haven't ever tried to do a treble crochet. Certainly you could try it. I never have. You would most likely need to put 3 or 4 stitches in each because they're longer stitches. So that might work better. Okay, so I'm going to do a double crochet one. So another 10. And then 2. Actually, I said 2 double crochet, didn't I? This half double. This was 2 single crochet and a 3 half double crochet. Apologies for that mistake. 3 half double crochet. And then I'm going to do this as 4 double crochet. So into the 3rd chain from the hook, I'm going to make 4 double crochet. Okay, so 4 double crochet into each chain. Oops, where's that gone? Okay, so just 4 into each, and when you first start doing it you'll think it does not look like it's going to do anything, but you've seen that it does, and it will. Okay, so I'm going to continue this and then I'll show you. Okay, this is my 4DC curly Q. So there's a lot of stitches in here, 40 to be precise. So this has a lot of twist on it because there are a lot of stitches to fit in there. A lot of stitches to fit in there. So the more stitches that you do in each chain, the more twist it will have. Okay, so it's got a lot more twist because, as I said, there's a lot more to fit in there. So that was 4 double crochet into each stitch, into each chain. This was 3. Let me just give it a stretch out so they're all the same. So stretch, there we go. So just opening that out a little. So it's up to you whether you want it tight or opened out. So this is our 4 GC, 3 HDC, half double crochet, and 2 single crochet. Did I say that right? 2 single crochet, 3 half double crochet, and 4 double crochet. There we go. Aren't they gorgeous? And this one looks almost frilly with the double crochet. So these here, I had, show you these ones, were 3 double crochet. To show you the difference between having 3 or having 4, you can see they're a lot thicker. There's a lot more sort of bunched up 4 or 3. Okay, so you can, for your garland, the simplest way is this one. Make your curly cues in whatever colours and sizes you wish. So I made these 4 just to do samples ready for the file. So any shape and size you like, and then make a chain the length you want your garland to be. Now this is just a short one just to show you. And then what I did at the end of the chain, I just knotted the yarn and made a simple loop just with the yarn. No chain, no nothing, just a simple knot for a loop. And then at the other end I did exactly the same, and then I just weaved the end of yarn through the chain. Okay, so I did that, and then all I did was took a curly cue and tied it to the chain. Nothing technical at all, just tied it onto the chain like so. And then if you want to leave it a bit rustic, you can just snip these ends off, just leave a short end, and there you go. So these have all got a short piece at the top, like so. There we go. That is it. That is how I made it. So let me just attach this one here. So simple. You could sew the ends back into your curly cues if you don't want those snipped ends. If you want it to look neater, you could do that, but I quite like the rustic look of doing it this way. So that's what I did. And this is just so simple, and that's all you need to do, and then you can just hang it up and enjoy, and twirling and blowing, or wherever you want. I'm just saying that because I'm thinking the garden all the time of where I'm going to hang it, but you can do exactly whatever you want. So that's the simplest way to do these. Okay, change up whether it's single crochets, half double crochets, double crochets, change up the colours, change up how many stitches you do in each chain. Keep to the same amount for each curly cue. Don't change 2, 3, 4 in one, and just have a play. Okay, so that's the simplest one you can do. Now, what about this other one? This one is a make all in one as you go. So we make the curly cues as we go along, and then it's all finished. By the time we've done, at the end, all we have to do is sew in a few ends of the alternate colour, and that's it. It's all done. No attaching, no ends showing. It's all nice and neat. So for this one, you need to choose your main colour or base colour, whichever you like to call it. So mine is this minty green. It might look a bit white on camera, but it's this minty pale green is my main colour. It's my band. And the short curly cues. And then I've got my second colour of the bright green. Okay, so you can use as many colours as you like for this, variegated, it doesn't matter. You could do it all in one colour as well. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to show you a few, a short way along, how to make it, and then I'll leave you to continue. So I'll show you how you can change colour, and then I'll leave you to finish. So I'm going to grab some yarn and let's get started with that one. Okay, the noise you played has pretty much gone. Now, for the loop on the end, if you've seen any of the other bunting and garland videos I've done this month, they're all in the playlist below, in that description box. I've been making loops at the end of most of mine, and I've been doing a chain 10 loop. So it's been half of this size. This is a chain 20 loop. And what I actually found was that on certain places I tried to hang, like on drawer knobs and things, it wouldn't fit. So I've made a chain 20 loop this time, just to change it up a bit as well. Okay, so you can make your loop bigger if you need to, or smaller, depending on where you want to hang it. We'll factor into that. If you want to put it around a big chain fence post or something, you'll need a much bigger loop. So anyway, I'm going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain and make a loop. It's always slightly odd using a different size hook to what you're used to with yarn. So that's my chain, okay, for my loop, and I will just use that to hang. Okay, so we're going to do the same at the other end, but first of all we need to make the length of our garland. Okay, so make this however long you want your garland to be, and I decided that I was going to use the tail. I worked my chain over the tail, and it saved a lot of sewing in. So just working over this can be slightly tricky. You just make your chains with your tail as well as you're working yarn. You might need to just pull that through a little bit. Okay, and you're just going to chain. Oops, like I said, it can be a bit tricky, so if you prefer, just leave your tail and just weave it in afterwards, and that will work fine. Okay, oops, okay, told you it's a bit tricky. Okay, and then just continue making chains. Now if you want to do this precisely and mathematically, you can count your chains, and then you can do the maths and work out how many chains you're going to have between each curly Q. Okay, you can do it all technically if you want to, and work out the, divide, entirely up to you. I prefer to wing it and just tweak it if I need to. Okay, so let's say this is the length of my chain, and then I'm going to chain 20 for the other end. Oops. Okay, so let's have a quick count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and slip stitch in that 20th chain to make your loop. There we go, one loop. Okay, and then I am going to start by single crocheting into the first chain of this top piece. So I've got a single crochet there, and I'm going to single crochet into the next one, and then I'm going to make my first curly Q. So I am going to do I did some 10s before, didn't I? So let's do a 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now these are actually 15. These are 15 chains, or 16, and these are 20, and then the extra 2. So 15 plus 1 and 20 plus 2 is what I did for those. So I've done 10 plus 1, and then I'm going to put 3 single crochets in each chain, starting with the second chain from the hook. Okay, 3 single crochets into each chain. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of these off camera so you don't have to sit and watch me making 30 single crochets, and I will get back to you when I've done these single crochets. Okay, so when you have done all the stitches in your curlicue, just help it to twist around. As we said before, it might need a little encouraging. There we go. Okay, when you meet back at the top where you did your single crochets, you are going to go into the single crochet. Now this is the top of the single crochet. The top of your garland is actually the bottom of the single crochets. Okay, I'll show you this one, the lighter colour. We're going along like this. Okay, so we're single crocheting this way, and our curlicues are coming up from the top of this single crochet. Oh, excuse me. They're coming up from the top of the single crochet. So when we hang it, we've actually got the bottom of our single crochets along the top. Okay, so when we have finished our curlicue, we need to go into the top of the single crochet. Okay, we're going to go this way. Okay, so I'm going to go into the top of your single crochet, and then slightly to the side of the stitch. Okay, the top and the side of that single crochet, and do a slip stitch. Okay, and then you're going to go straight over to the next chain along. Go straight to the next chain along and do a single crochet. Okay, so the first few stitches of this can be fiddly. So I like to do about 4, maybe 5 single crochets between, depending on what size curlicues you're making. If you're doing double crochet ones, you might want to do a wider. So what have I got there? 3, 4. And then in the next stitch, the 5th stitch, I'm going to change colour. So I'm going to go in and yarn over and pull through, and I've got these 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to drop this main colour, bring in my second colour, and just pop it over the hook and pull through those last 2 loops. And leave this main colour where it is, we'll pick that up later. Leave the tail of that, work that in later, and then do your chain. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, I'm going to do a double crochet one here. I've got 15 chains, so I'm going to add 2 more because it's double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook and do 3 double crochets. Okay, now these were 20 and these were 15. Okay, so this is 20. So this one will be slightly shorter by 5 sets of stitches. So work up, this one is 3 single crochets, sorry, 3 double crochets into each chain. Okay, work your way up to the top, and then with a double crochet we have to do the last 3 stitches slightly differently. Okay, so the last chain we do those 3 stitches differently. So work up until you get to the last chain, and then I will meet you back to do that last one together. Okay, now if you look here at the double crochets and look at our top edge here, there's a big jump from the size of this double crochet to join onto here. Okay, there's a big jump. So to ease that down, what we're going to do is, in this last chain, we're going to do a double crochet, a half double crochet, and then a single crochet. Now yes, my chain is growing because I've got that tail there, so let's just pull that in. Okay, and then we're now down to the perfect height to slip stitch. If you were doing differently, a different amount of stitches, if you were doing 2 double crochets in each stitch, then I would say in your last chain do a half double crochet and then a single crochet. So your double crochets will finish 1 chain before, and then you do a half and a single in the last one. And if you're doing, say, 4 stitches in each, then you would just, again, you do 2 double crochet, a half double crochet and a single crochet, okay, ending on a single crochet. And likewise, if you were doing half double crochets, you would also need to taper down to a single crochet at the end, so that it fits and matches nicely. So what we're going to do is go into that last stitch and the side of that stitch on our top edge and slip stitch. Okay, and then fasten off. Okay, and then these are the only bits you're going to have to sew in at the end. You've got the parts near your loop, if you've got those to sew in, and then just these are the alternate colours. That's all you've got to sew in on this, which is great. Love it when there's not a lot of sewing in to do, even though I quite like sewing in. I know a lot of you don't, so saves a lot of that. So there you go, there's your double crochet curly Q next to your single crochet curly Q. There we go. Okay, now they are a bit, it does take a while for this to start shaping up because it all seems a bit like there's lots of things going on and not a lot of shape happening. But it will, the more you do, the more shape it takes. So keep going. Okay, so then to continue with our main colour, let's move those tails out of the way. To continue with your main colour, so there's no gap or dip, going to go back into the stitch from where I dropped the colour. So I'm going back into the last stitch that I made, and I'm going to pull through that yarn. Okay, pull that yarn through on that last stitch made, and then I'm going to go into the next. That wasn't the last stitch made, was it? Last stitch made. Here we go. Okay, pull that through, and then go into the next chain and do your single crochet. If you go into the next stitch, or the next chain, sorry, to do your stitch, you'll find that you have a funny sort of gap and it won't look as smooth a band. So again, 4 or 5 stitches in between. Whatever, you can do these exactly the same amount, you can just change it up. You might have done all the maths and worked out exactly how many. Entirely up to you. So do a few stitches, and then I'm going to do another curly Q, so another 10. Plus 1, and then I'm going to do another 3 single crochet curly Q. Okay, so I'm going to go into the second chain and do 3 single crochets. Okay, and then I'm going to continue all the way to the top, and I will meet you back when I've done all of these stitches. Okay, I have done all of those 30 stitches in that single crochet curly Q. So I'm back at the top band. Just realised it was starting to get a little dull, so pop the light on. Okay, so I'm going to do a slip stitch into this stitch at the top and the side. Do a slip stitch into there. Okay, and then I'm going to go straight into the next chain and do a single crochet. Oops. Just take your time. If you're using a hook smaller than you would normally use for the yarn, just take your time, especially if you've got yarn that's prone to splitting. Just take your time with this, because as you can see, it can be a bit fiddly with a smaller hook, but it does give you much tighter curls, which I really like, so that's why I'm doing it. So for the colour change, go into your stitch, pull through with the 2 loops there, drop your colour, bring up your second colour and just make a loop like so, pop it on your hook and pull through. Okay, and then make your chains. Make your chains for your curly Q, and remember you can change up. These I've done all in the same sizes, but you can change up as much as you like. You can use a different colour, entirely up to you. So you would just do your chains and then you would start making your curly Q again. Okay, and then when you get back to the top, remember what I said about tapering your stitches down. If it's a double crochet, make sure you do a half double crochet and a single crochet before your slip stitch, and it just gives that more of a seamless transition. And then continue with your stitches along the top. Remember that when you come back to your main colour, let me just move this. When you come back to your main colour, you want to go into the last stitch made and pull your colour through, and then go into the next chain and make your first stitch. Okay, like so. And it just makes it nice and smooth along there. There's no gap. Can you see here if I bring this in? Where are we? Here. If you look here, there's no big gap where this colour change took place. Okay, if I hadn't have gone through that last stitch made, we would have had a big gap. Okay, so that's what you're going to do all the way to the end, and then when you get to the end, just fasten off, and that is that. That is how you end up with an all-in-one like this. This has got a bit twisted, but it's fine. So you end up with an all-in-one like this, and all you have to sew in are the ends of your extra colours that you add. And if you did this all in one, I imagine a variegated yarn, and you just have all the different colours going on and no tails at all. So I love it, love it, love it. So there we go. That's how to make your curly Q garland. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and that you've had fun, or you're going to have fun making those curly Qs now. They're just great fun. And if you're not going to make it into a garland, you might have had fun just making the curly Qs. I might go off and make some octopuses or unicorn hair. So if you found this useful and helpful, or you've enjoyed watching or crocheting along with me, then please click that like button. Give us a thumbs up. It's much appreciated. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. All the written patterns and instructions are in the Facebook group. The link to that is in the description below, Beyond the Cow. And if you're on Instagram, then show me what you've made with the hashtag Beyond the Cow, and show me your photos in the group if you're in the group as well. So have fun, and until next time, just keep hooking and don't let your tea get cold.